Hey, it's Darien. What you're about to hear is the first ever live recorded episode of Muses of Mythology. We recorded a panel at Boise Comic Arts Festival 2024 just this past weekend here in Boise, Idaho. Teaming up with our friend Leo the Geek Scorpio from Gaming Theater Presents and Gaming Theater Podcast, we presented a bracket battle titled Myth Madness, Battle of the Comic Gods, where we pitted together 16 different deities from across the comic genre. Now, as this is a live show, our audio is going to be slightly different than what you're probably used to hearing. It actually turned out way better than I feared it would. I think you're going to like it a whole lot. Around the 2-minute mark, there is a little bit of audio interference for when there was an announcement over the con's intercom while DJ was speaking, but after that point, it's actually very smooth. There is a visual aid that goes with this episode, and I've included the link to that down below in the show notes. This live panel relied heavily on audience interaction to vote which figure would move forward. Additionally, we passed out brackets to attendees, inviting them to fill them out in advance to see if they would be able to guess who would be the winner. A few people actually did got it right, and one young audience member went home with a $25 Barnes & Noble gift card. If you want to hit pause on this episode and see if you can fill out the bracket and get it right yourself, I've also included a link to that down below in the show notes. This was a truly awesome experience and definitely something that makes us confident in the potential to do more live Muses episodes going forward. Thank you so much to Leo for being a part of this and for Boise Comic Arts Festival for letting us return. Shout out to Joshua. My man, you are amazing. Thank you all so much for listening. Now, on with the show. I'm 1, you're 2, you're 3. Ready? 1,
2, 3.
Perfect. We got to be quick about this. We only got 45 minutes, gentlemen.
Okay.
Boise Comic Arts Festival. I am your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today?
And our very dear friend from Gaming Theater Presents, Leo Garcia.
Hi, everybody.
Y'all, we are going to be deciding something very important, something that's been debated through the ages. Who is the very best god in comic books based off the material that we three are familiar with?
Yes.
So, here's how it's going to work. We have all selected 5, and then I've added this 6th bonus one because we had to have an even number. You're going to see them on the screen. We are going to tell you why we think they're the best, and then you are going to tell us who wins for each round. At the end, I would like to remind you, this is not who is the strongest god. This is not who will win in a fight, because if it's who will win in the fight, the answer is Beerus from Dragon Ball Super. I'm not going to pretend that it's not.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest about
we
that.
only have like a handful that can actually match up with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda. But yeah.
DJ, can you do me a big favor?
Huh.
Will you be in charge of the bracket board that I so painstakingly made right there for us?
Yeah. Does this clicker not work?
No, like I'll click it on my side. You need to do that so we're not crossing back and forth over each other.
Oh, that's cord's a little tangled.
It's a live show, everybody. Okay. All right. Shall we begin? Are you ready? Okay. And because I love a theme, our first 8 rounds are going to be thematic. First up, we have the Destroyer, Beerus from Dragon Ball Super versus Persephone from Lore Olympus. Gigi, you want to tell us a little bit about Beerus? Give us that 45-second pitch.
Beerus is a destroyer god. Shush. Beerus is a destroyer god from Dragon Ball Super, as said earlier. He goes around destroying things. That's what he does. He's got a crazy amount of power. And I think he's a better god than Persephone because he motivated and pushed towards the creation of the Super Saiyan god.
Oh, we want to talk about gods who motivate people.
Go ahead.
Is that what we're talking about? Whether or not Persephone of Lore Olympus motivated anybody, we're going to say. Where she started as just the goddess of spring, meant to fulfill one simple role. This mic is picking me up and I'm echoing. I'm going to walk over here. And then instead became Persephone, the Dread Queen, the Destroyer, Queen of the Underworld, who not only defeated Kronos, but reshaped the Underworld as we know it and propelled society forward, reshaping the entire destiny of Olympus. Want to talk about motivation?
Cool. Beerus also saved Goku from the fate of becoming Goku Black and wreaking havoc on future Trunks' timeline, as we know.
See, the bad thing is we've been watching Dragon Ball Super, so I'm really persuaded
yeah.
by this argument, because we watched that episode last night, dear audience.
Very good.
The thing about that, though, is I would argue that as
in the concept of the narrative, Persephone being a goddess, being the ability to reshape reality, being the thing that creates legend, that creates story, that explains why the underworld is the way it is, I feel like her as a goddess is more influential on the narrative than Beerus being a god. No, don't get me wrong. He's very important to the narrative, but is his status as a god important to the narrative?
Yeah. He motivated and showed Goku that there was more stronger than what Goku realized.
Interesting.
Showed the cosmic level of power. Didn't even use 100% of his power, which was a stupid scene, but it was
So
really
we're talking
funny.
about a god who inspires.
Yeah.
That's a very good
point. And when Chanba shows up, his twin brother, wreaking havoc on his own universe, he challenges him to a fight.
I think that was Goku, actually.
Well, regardless, he supported it, okay? And then he motivated Goku even further by lying and gaslighting him about Monako.
You know, gaslighting does feel like a thing a deity would do. Don't get me wrong.
That's
All right.
a pretty good move right there.
All right, we're
And
gonna
it
send
works.
I think we're
Goku
talking in
believes it.
circles. We are going to send it to the audience. Y'all can vote. Bear in mind, again, it's not who's going to win in a fight, who you think is a better god in their narrative, and also because it's comics, because the visual, the graphic design matters so much, you can also use who you think looks cooler. We're not going to get mad. Give a round up for Beerus.
Woo, yeah!
All right, and then how about Persephone? I think more people clap for Beerus.
I think Beerus wins.
All
Let's
right,
go.
send it forward.
Love to see it.
I'm so mad. I can't believe my Dread Queen got out in the first round. Okay, next up, the round I like to call Life and Death. Falma from...
Isekai Yakyoku.
And Darkseid from DC Comics. And I get to sit down for this one.
Yep. So I'll start, since most of you probably don't know who Falma is, or even the anime Isekai Yakyoku. Falma is a doctor, a med student from our world, isekai'd, which is he died and got transported into this world, into the body of a 10-year-old. Some people don't. I don't know. Into the body of a 10-year-old who, when he was transported, was also blessed and became the god of medicine into this world. And so now he's got modern, and this world is like, I would say 1700s, give or take, but with magic. And so he uses his knowledge of modern medicine to heal people, to like diagnose people. He's got creation magic in one hand and destruction magic in another, which is utilized a lot of fun. He stopped the bubonic plague in 4 days, which was really funny.
All right, so for me, I've got Darkseid. Darkseid is basically the biggest of the big bads of the DC universe. Darkseid is part of the New God storyline, which is a series of people who have elevated themselves to godhood, but Darkseid is on the opposing side. He runs a planet called Apocalypse, whose primary goal is to have Darkseid is to find what he calls the anti-life equation. It's a way of him redesigning the entirety of the cosmos into his own dreams and his own way he wants to think about it. But in order to do that, he is the ultimate god of destruction. There are alliances, there are people everywhere that stay out of his way just because of how much power that he holds. He's one of like a handful of people that can go to toe with Superman for no other reason. And he is just seen as, okay, we will take all of our steps to unload on this one god-like creature, this god himself. He is elevated to a deity status. Even his planet is filled with nothing but worshippers and people who will praise him as the almost epitome of the god of death. And even death kind of stays away from him, which is a concept in DC lore. But for the most part, he is the only person that the entirety of the universe is like, yeah, let's not let him do this. That's a bad thing.
Awesome.
So that's what we have for Darkseid.
Great. I mean, I've explained all of what Falma's all about. Again, he can create, chemical compounds. So he's got modern medicine. He helped cure scurvy with candies, which was fun.
And ironic.
Yeah, right. Well, it's citrus, loaded citrus candies.
Hey, look, Darien's talking again. All right, guys, let's do another vote. I totally blew out the mic there. Okay. I hope my theme of life and death made sense. I was very excited when I thought of it. All right, who thinks Falma is the better deity in their narrative? All right, and now I assume give it up for Darkseid.
Ultimate case of
I'm
death.
seeing more claps for Darkseid. Darkseid is going to be our winner.
Okay. Also, I want to say I came up with that. Life and death. That was me.
All right, it was DJ. I'm so sorry. You did come up with that.
Yep.
All right, move Darkseid on. We're going on to the next
All right.
round. We got to be speedy
Big
about
boy
this
is
game.
out on the first round.
Yeah, well, it's Falma.
Round 3, I like to call Buzzkills. We have Crom from Conan the Barbarian and Devoid from Magical Boy. Leo, do you want to kick this one off?
I will kick this off with Crom. Crom is famous for being the god of steel and mountains and mostly metal. This
Dude,
is the most metal god that you can think of, for he is metal. Here's the thing with that. This is the one deity that's basically follows Conan the Barbarian anywhere. Now, if you're wondering if this has never been in comics, nay, for Marvel acquired the rights to this back in the 70s before they made the cool movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger on it. However, Crom itself is only being praised by Conan because he's the last of his people who praises Crom.
I have no idea.
What he does is praises him for nothing but using his brawn and his steel to go through with things, and that's what Conan does to go through his adventures. But that's Crom in a nutshell. He's there to be appraised to by Conan.
Not gonna lie, I do think I misunderstood who Crom was when I made this thing. What did you found? He only gives out gloomy.
So he was the wiki that I had read described him as a grim and gloomy god.
Yeah, he is grim and gluey.
Yeah,
Okay, we're not wrong.
Yeah,
Great. So it still matches with
I
Devoid.
couldn't find it being the god of metal.
So that he's the god of the forge and the steel. But what he is that he's gluey, and most of his people have to go down to the mountains, and if they don't make it,
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to tell you all about Devoid and why Devoid is the more superior deity in their narrative. Devoid is, quote, the king of destruction. Once upon a time, it was a yin and yang with darkness and light, the goddess Aurora. But she decided she liked humans more than the other spirits, decided she was going to get married, have a kid. Very rose quartz, if you ask me. You understand. And then Devoid didn't super love this. Specifically that Aurora decided she was going to prioritize humans over the other animals and spirits, and made it their life mission to just destroy everything Aurora cared about. And so we have a long lineage of this goddess, deity, god of destruction fighting against the magical girl descendants of Aurora until we get to Max, the first trans magical boy in the line. And the entire notion of Devoid, besides being super cool design, there's a reason I picked Devoid over Aurora for this particular battle, is also the notion of what these figures represent, how we have this notion of darkness and how it becomes the king of darkness, but that is because that is the language that humans use to divide the character. The concept of gender is not something that these deities held to themselves, it's how they were shaped by humans. So my argument for this narrative of what Devoid actually represents that gods do in the story is the potential for reflecting cultural values and how we communicate and what we believe and how that reflects in the figures.
All right, let's hear it up for Crom. Let's hear it up for Devoid. I think that's just one more for Crom, Darien.
That's okay.
I did not expect Crom to make it out there.
Whatever, it's fine. All right, we're moving on.
Darien, I can't help but notice that you're missing a piece, so I guess Majesty just moves up.
Oh, no! Hold on, it's in my bag. Oh, yeah. Leo, get my bag. No, it's super important. You gotta get my bag. It's in the front pocket. No, this is really important, because this is my favorite one. We gotta get it in my pocket. Fantastic. Okay, Next up we've got We're All Stories in the End. Majesty from
Tomb Raider King.
And Loki, specifically Loki, Goddess of Stories from Marvel Comics. DJ, you go ahead and kick us off.
Right. So Tomb Raider King is a wonderful manhwa that is a Korean webtoon that revolves around our hero character. I can't remember his name. Finding a bunch of relics that have like crazy powers, right? Then they represent different stories and the history of humankind. So you can have like Odin's spear or Da Vinci's notebook, stuff like that, right? And the Majesty is specifically, it's not really one person. It's like a title bestowed upon a human after meeting certain requirements. They become essentially a god to these relics, and they can create relics through whatever stories they, perceive.
That's fantastic. I love the notion of deifying relics as they reflect in an importance of stories. Now I'm going to tell you why Loki should win this one. And y'all, please, I'm not going to be able to talk after these rounds if none of my characters go through. So, what I am going to tell you about Loki, Goddess of Stories, and I want you all to picture back. Distant history. Early man, terrified of the thunder and the lightning outside, the raging storm, cowering in the cave. And then the shaman stands up. And the shaman tells them, hey, we don't have to fear that sound, that thunder, that lightning. That's not a beast. That's our god Thor. He is fighting the ice giants for us. He will protect us, and the sun will return because Thor is there protecting us. And his father, Odin, and his brother, Loki. Yes, I said brother. We're doing Marvel Comics. Keep it up. And all of these stories and how the people of the early man found comfort in that, found solstice, found hope to keep going through the storm into the dawn. And that is what Goddess of Stories Loki represents. This is not the god of lies. This is not the god of mischief. This is the god who represents how we create stories that matter to us, how we find promise and purpose and hope in tomorrow and meaning in the chaos. And that is what power of stories is. Also, it's Goddess Loki. And I do love that because we all love a gender fluid, non-binary god. And that's what Marvel Loki does.
Counterpoint.
No counterpoint.
The Majesty creates these gods.
Counterpoint, you're wrong.
It's true. Ask Jared. He's right over there. He introduced it to me. He created Odin. He created Zeus, Prometheus. He created all these gods, Darien.
There's a theme. There are themes. I picked the themes. We're all stories. It's even a Doctor Who reference. I did that for you. Okay. But counterpoints. Goddess of Loki's outfit's way cooler. The layers, the green,
Disagree,
the broken
dude.
The amount of
horn.
drip.
Disagree. Babylonian? That's just awesome as hell.
You know what? It doesn't matter. It's down to the audience. Okay, Leo, do it off for us.
All right, audience. Who is it that we're going to take a look at? Who's going to reign supreme? Is it going to be Majesty from the one?
Yeah!
Or are we going to go with Loki?
Woo!
You know what's
Thank you all so
crazy?
much.
Darien gave me control of this board. So.
No! The betrayal. Okay. Halfway through round 5, Fate and Chaos, I present to you Istis from the Adventure Zone and Leo.
Shumagarath from
Thank you.
the Marvel Universe.
Awesome. Okay, I need a breather after pitching for Loki, so if you could go first, I'd appreciate that, my friend.
Although, they're both from the Loki is around with Shumagarath. So Shumagarath is a chaos and an old god, an ancient deity god. Shumagarath has been around for thousands and thousands of years and just keeps popping up as a lord of chaos, coming in, making as much destruction waves for, funsies, not even for profit, just, hey, I'm doing this, that's a thing. Generally speaking, he goes up against the different Marvel heroes, such as the most famous one is Doctor Strange, but he will find himself against the Asgards, Spider-Man, evil Iron Man. Basically, if you were anybody who dealt with any kind of magic, you have dealt at one point in time with Shumagarath. And Shumagarath is an entity. There is no killing him. There's no stopping him. He just keeps coming back. My favorite part about that is Shumagarath didn't get into various popularity until, I guess, Capcom, the video game developer, decided we need a character that represents chaotic magic. And for some reason, Doctor Strange is benched. Let's go with this guy.
Sometimes the meta-narrative reigns supreme. Speaking of the meta-narrative, I want to tell y'all something deeply comforting. What if fate actually cared about what happened to you? What if the randomness of the universe wasn't so random? What if the things that happened didn't necessarily have a purpose, didn't necessarily have a meaning, but whatever happened, whoever dictated what happened still cared and loved you? And that is what Istis represents. She is the goddess of the natural order of time and fate. She represents... She's not a popular goddess because, it's not super fun when bad things happen and we're just told, well, it's Istis's will. But that's not what she represents. She represents that there is an inevitability, that there are things we can't control, but that doesn't mean we sit down and take it. That doesn't mean we let darkness rule. That doesn't mean we let our mistakes define us. It means we keep going forward. It means there is this goddess who cares for us, who will reach out to her followers, to her emissaries, look into their future, give them the boons they need, and tell them, you're going to be amazing. And isn't that what we'd like to hear fate tell us in the end? Also, she does the knitting thing, and it's a good aesthetic when you have the weaving goddess of fate.
See, I get you on that one, but people praise to Shubagarath to not show up. That's the thing. We're like, he's the person that's going to cause a party foul. Let's not bring him into this party.
Yeah, but one time Istis gave a character a minute hand from a giant clock tower, and when he throws it, it comes back, and it's called the Chance Lance. And it's very cool, and she uses it to top a time bubble and rework time. And that's great for me.
A lot of fun. All right, let's hear it for Shubagarath. All right, let's hear it for Istis.
Hey, how about that? I totally
Istis
didn't
moves
think
up.
she was
gotta
going to
win
that
go
one
for
for
it.
me, Leo.
Thank
On
you,
it.
Leo. All right, round number 6. Multiverses. We've got
Jared, you might want to step out of the room here.
the Beyonder.
No, I'm serious. He wants to read this. This is ending.
Oh,
shit.
Jared, run. Quick. Get out of here. Oh, by the way, this is a spoiler-heavy podcast. We're going to talk about whatever we want. Sorry, gang. Should have said that at the top. So The Beyonder
Yeah,
from Marvel
say that at
Comics
the top.
and Mori Jin from...
God of High School.
Thank you so much. DJ, kick us off.
So Mori Jin is pretty much Sun Wukong, right? For those of you who don't know, it's Monkey King. I'll count it. It's Monkey King, right? The Journey to the West. We all love it. We all know it. It's wonderful. Great story. He doesn't really share much of that story, except for the fact that he has his like powers and such. He can clone himself, and the reason he's here in the multiverses category is because towards the end, he advances his clone technique so much that he's actually just summoning himself from other universes to come in and help fight against the bastard Mubong Park.
Where is all ages podcast?
Crazy. We've always been an outrageous podcast.
Okay, well, at the Boise Library event, yeah, we are. I'm cutting you off. It's Leo's turn.
Oh, okay, I get this.
DJ
So
Hicks
what
is
I've
out.
got is the Beyonder. The Beyonder is written as such as the Celestials are the most powerful beings in the Marvel universe, and the Beyonder is beyond them. Beyonder is again a complete deity actuality, but so much of the biggest and largest storylines in Marvel, when they have any kind of crossover event, the Beyonder is part of it. The first big one that he's in is the first official event comic ever made, which is I can't think. Secret Wars.
I didn't know that. That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
Secret
considered
Wars was
the
the first
first.
one.
So Secret Wars, and if you're wondering about that, that's where Spider-Man gets his black suit. But also to do this, it's a challenge between all the superheroes and the various supervillains, as the Beyonder has created a planet for them to face off on, made of parts and pieces of other planets. So there's a section from Asgard there. There's a section from Nowhere in there. There's a section from Ohio. It comes up.
It does come up.
I don't know. There's this part in Ohio that's now stuck in the battle world for it. But then anybody who even tries to consider doing this to deal with the Beyonder usually lets them have his powers just to see what this like powers is, and then takes it away because nobody can handle that. It's this. It's part of the ending for the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s. He's part of both Secret Wars 1 and 2 in the 2000 comics. He gets around. He is the big boy on this one.
He's also a Kang variant,
Correct.
which is what the multiverses thing. I needed you to say that, otherwise my thing didn't make sense. Okay, dear audience, let's figure out who is gonna give it up for Mori Jin.
Yeah. Counting Jared's too, so that's 6.
Oh yeah, you got the gimme on that one.
And
All right.
then what about the Beyonder?
I think
I think that was 5.
Mori Jin wins. Let's
Barely.
go.
You have the gimme on that one.
Yeah, but like, I had some gimmies on Istis. I know my audience. Who's gonna be here? All right, round number
One
7.
Tried to give me on Majesty, but it didn't fucking help, did it?
Nope.
Stop swearing. Yes. No. Wait. Yes. That's such a
Nope,
great
that's all
question.
style.
It's for aesthetic. If DJ,
There
if
is
you curse one more time.
absolutely no practical reason
If
for
you
it.
curse one more time, I'm taking Chainsaw Man out of the running regardless. Round number 7.
Not
Does
the
that
Chainsaw
count?
Man. Doesn't matter.
All right. So we've got Chainsaw Man from Chainsaw Man and Death from Sandman.
Why don't you start with Death, Darien?
Oh, geez. I would love to. Okay. What if I told you that Death cared about you, but like in a nice way? Yes, she's reusing the last thing, but I didn't think Istis was going to make it through, so I'm going to pull it twice. Death from the Sandman is essentially the Grim Reaper. She is, if you're familiar with Terry Pratchett's Discworld, you'll find similar vibes in this death. She is the one who shows up at the end of the day. She is the one who, when the universe ends, she sweeps the floors, puts the chairs on the table, and clicks out the lights. She is just the end of all things. But that doesn't mean she doesn't care about life. In fact, once every 100 years, death lives for one day as a mortal on Earth, on some distant planet, in some other reality. She just exists to remember why things are afraid of her, to not feel jaded about that. And at the end of the day, we all get what anyone gets. We get a lifetime. And isn't it kind of nice to think about it? At the end of it all, there's a cute goth girl waiting to take us to the other side.
Chainsaw Man looks way fucking cooler.
No, he doesn't. And I told you if you curse again, I was automatically kicking him out.
It's too late. Chainsaw Man looks way cooler. Chainsaw Man is feared by humans and demons alike, actually. Devils fear this guy. You think they fear hell? They do fear hell. The last thing they remember, they don't remember hell at all. The last thing they remember about hell is the simple fact that they hear Chainsaw Man's engines revving up as he kills them. And when he eats things, they're gone. They're erased, right? They cease to exist. It's really funny because he'll eat like the ear devil and ears just stop existing. They're gone. So you know what I say? He just eats death. And that's a plan in the manga. They are planning to do that.
That's nice. This is not a competition of who would win in a fight, though. So, like, dear audience,
I'm just
remember
saying,
that.
His powers are greater, regardless.
I am just saying he's not a god, and actually, technically, Death isn't. She's an entity called the Endless.
And that's why does this count?
Who is specifically not considered gods in the Sandman, and neither is Chainsaw Man. But these were our favorites, and we made the thing, so we get to do whatever we want. Yeah, I mean, you could fear something, or you could find comfort in it. Dear audience, who do you think should win? Is it Chainsaw Man?
Chainsaw Man! Let's go!
Is it Death from the Sandman?
I think Chainsaw Man wins that one.
Hold on, can we get some hands for Death? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and Chainsaw Man.
No, that was 5. Mom raised her hand twice.
Oh, whatever, Chainsaw. Okay, fine, it's Chainsaw Man. I'm done with this game. I'm never doing this again. We're not also not going to be invited back because you keep swearing. We're not coming back next year. All right. So, dear audience, I want to tell you about this. These two knew every other character on the board. Like, we shared the list. They all knew. They don't know character number 16, who I picked, who I'm going to introduce you to right now. Round number 8, anchor points. We've got Spectre from DC Comics and the god of all Sues from Instant Sue Must Die. Leo, kick us off and make it quick because we got to blast through this in, we got 15 minutes. We're running fine.
Yeah. Okay, so what we've got here is the Spectre. The Spectre is, by its definition, the literal vengeance and wrath of God. These, in order to make sure that the Spectre doesn't go crazy and just wipe everything out, the Spectre has to attach itself and anchor itself to a person. In this case, it anchors itself to a police officer, but who basically sees bad things happening. And when
Are you reading a webcomic right now?
Maybe.
And when he does, the Spectre ends up allowing his powers to be used. The Spectre's been actually around in comics since the 30s. It's an old comic character. But the Spectre also gets passed around from place to place. If you were watching the CW Flash at the end of the series, of all of CW series, the Spectre is now in Green Arrow for whatever. And the Spectre has hopped around in comics to being Hal Jordan from the Green Lantern Corps, and that's a whole thing. Then also into various other people. The Spectre has to keep itself anchored, and one of the best storylines of that, if you ever get a chance, it was written and drawn by Alex Ross, and it's called Kingdom Come, and it's sort of the aftermath of all of DC. It is an amazing tale, very well artist, but that's what I got for the Spectre.
What if I told you? No, I'm kidding.
What if I told you I'm using this line again?
No, so This was if y'all thought Magical Boy was a pull, let me tell you about Ensign Sue Must Die. This started out as a comedy webcomic in which a Mary Sue character ends up in the Star Trek Kelvin universe, right? The one with Chris Pine in the movies.
Wow, that is so ironic, and I'll tell you later.
Yes, it's because Captain Kirk is also a Mary Sue character. Don't worry about it. I would argue he's not.
No, it's something else.
And how she's a literal Mary Sue. Her name is Mary Amethyst Cordelia something Sue, with colors and purple eyes. And the idea that these Mary Sue characters in an actual narrative would be insufferable, right? They'd be the worst because they're not fun and they're not interesting characters. But that's okay, because they're so born out of love. And that is actually what these figures represent. What the God of all Sues is the prime Mary Sue character. And also, fun fact, the concept comes from Star Trek fan fiction in the first place, because that was where fandom truly was born in this world. Yeah, that's what it is. It was all intentional. Yeah, I got that. The fact that you're having fans writing fanfic and wanting to be part of this thing they loved so much. You get a Mary Sue character who's the best at everything, and everybody loves her so much, and she's the prettiest and the smartest and the wittiest, and both Bones and Spock and Kirk all love her so much, and that's so insufferable, and we make fun of that. But what we forget is that it's born from love. It's born from how important something is to us. So we have the God of all Mary Sues, who is essentially reaching in and twisting worlds to her whim around these anchor points until one of the Mary Sues becomes a fully realized creation, becomes her own character, and doesn't want to warp these realities anymore, and wants to love them for what they are, not necessarily because they love her back. And so what we have here is a deity that I would argue truly represents fandom. And isn't that interesting?
All I got is wrath.
All right, let's hear it for Spectre.
God of all
the
Sues.
Sues.
Yeah, that felt like Spectre to me.
Spectre wins.
That's fine.
You want to bump Spectre up?
I'm on it.
Okay.
Let's go with an 80-year-old character.
So y'all will not be surprised that I don't have any more matchup symbols, because that would be wild if I had predicted where this was going to go.
I probably could have predicted these two. The first two rounds.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I'm just saying.
So what we're going to happen here is we got about 15 minutes, which is fine because we've got plenty of time. Because now we've given you our sales pitches. We're going to go through and we're going to remind, and if anyone's like, I want to see what the character looks like, I can go back in the spreadsheet or the slide. It's fine. So we are going to go. We are in our final rounds. Round 9 is Beerus from Dragon Ball Super versus Darkseid from DC. Does anyone need a pitch to remind, or are we ready to vote? I think we can do a real quick. DJ, 5 words.
Beerus is a god of destruction in Dragon Ball Super who created the Super Saiyan god.
All right.
That's
Leo.
10.
Leo gets 15 words.
No, I might do it 5. Darkseid is the final boss of all of DC.
All right, who's giving for Beerus? And who's going to give it for Darkseid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect Darkseid to last that long.
All right, next up we've got Crumb from Conan the Barbarian versus Loki, goddess of stories from Marvel Comics.
It was a dead ringer. He was up against Falma. Nobody knows.
All right, Leo, give us a little bit about Crumb for a reminder for the audience.
Crumb is the god of steel, hangs out with Conan, is basically, worshipped by one guy, but he keeps on trucking. And he does not like you.
No. From what I read.
And Loki is the goddess of stories who represents the power stories and storytelling have in the human world. And you know what? She'll probably like you if you're chill and cool.
Let's hear it for Crom.
Nice.
Let's hear it for Loki. All right.
Loki moves up. Again, I did not expect Crom to last this long.
Crom is his pick.
All right, 8, 9, 10. Round 11, we are going to pit Istis from the Adventure Zone versus Mori Jin from God of High School.
Yep.
DJ, give us Mori Jin.
Mori Jin, again, Sun Wukong. Journey to the West, everybody loves it. Just an incredible character. I love him so much.
Istis, an original deity in her narrative, so she has to do a lot of functioning without being able to rely on pre-established storytelling canon to convey the work. She also thinks you're going to be amazing.
Let's hear for Istis. Let's hear for Mori Jin. Yeah.
Now that's Istis. Woo!
No, Istis.
All right, welcome to round. Is this 12? This feels 12. Am I
Yeah,
right?
12. Yeah,
Feels
yeah,
like
12.
12.
I'm losing track
It's 12.
I'm moving without my PowerPoint. We've got Chainsaw Man from Chainsaw Man versus Spectre from DC.
It's Chainsaw Man. What more can I say?
Wrath of God.
Let's hear it for Chainsaw Man.
Let's hear it for Spectre. Yes.
Yeah, it's Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Look, Spectre got one. That's all I needs.
All right, we've got Beerus from Dragon Ball Super versus Loki, Goddess of Stories from Marvel. DJ, tell us about Beerus again.
Even the Supreme Kais fear him. Shenron, the wishing dragon, is scared to even look at Beerus. All right?
I just wanted to show you all the purple cat again. I do think he's really cool. This is not a critique. I just really think he's cool.
Look, even my competitor thinks it's awesome.
And now I want to show you Loki Goddess Stories just one more time. The aesthetic, the vibe, that striking silhouette. I'm not saying either one wins the silhouette test, but you have a
I
character
think
who
Beerus
looks.
wins
Let
the
me
silhouette
finish.
test.
Let me finish. We all know what Loki from Marvel Comics looks like. This is an established character. He's been around forever. You've seen him in the movies. And they did such a good... Now, I've already given you the pitch for the character and the narrative. I'm not doing that now. I'm giving you the pitch for the aesthetic because it is comic books and visuals matter. How you can look at this character and you recognize, yeah, that's Loki.
You know, this is
But
way
you
longer than anything I've
finish.
given.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, but it's way longer than anything
You
I've
had
done. And you got mad at me
5.
for doing more than 5 words.
That's true. Now, how many hours did you spend preparing for this? Thank you very much. And you can see, and you know, I know that's Loki, but you can also tell she's about something a little different, a little bit deeper, a little bit more rugged, not quite as refined. And who can say storytelling is a refined art? All right, let's give it up for Beerus. And let's give it up for Loki, Goddess of Stories.
I think the MCU is doing a lot of lifting here.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, indeed.
All right, we've got, goodness me, we've got Istis from the Adventure Zone versus Chainsaw Man. All right, DJ, I will only do 5 words. You can have the floor.
It's Chainsaw Man. He's awesome. He's great. He looks cool. That's not even his final form. That's not the form we're currently dealing with in the manga. He's like all black. Yeah. He's great. He's scary.
He actually is scary. DJ did send me that one too, and I thought a little too graphic for
But you gave me
no,
in
I
the
did.
comic Mori Jin.
You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying, I'm acknowledging you are right, and I don't have a visual because it was scary.
Yeah, it is scary. It's awesome. That's why it's great.
All right.
Istis' wife is a raven goddess of death.
That was more than 5 words. Let's hear it for Chainsaw Man. Let's hear it for Istis.
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a big old matchup.
I
didn't expect it. I'll be real. I didn't think Chainsaw Man would get this far.
I also didn't think my very, very niche version of Loki would get this far.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all, we've been talking for almost 40 minutes here. I think we've pitched these characters pretty well. Does anyone need another pitch, or do you in your heart know who you're going to vote for? Okay. Now we are going to vote. We're not going to count. We're going to vote on sound. But also only clap for the one you actually want to win. And DJ and I are going to turn around. Leo's going to tell us who won because I think we're a little too invested in this. Okay.
Yeah, all my guys are gone.
All right, Leo, kick us off.
All right, let's see what we got for Loki. Nice. Now let's see what we got for Chainsaw Man.
Let's go. That's Chainsaw Man, baby.
Is it Chainsaw Man, Leo?
If you're going all audio, it's Chainsaw
That's
Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw
Let's
Man.
go.
And now we have the character who's technically
not even a god.
as our reigning supreme overlord of the Battle of the Comic Book Gods. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for spending your time. Did anybody guess correctly on those brackets? Yeah?
Let's go. Oh.
Yeah? You got them? Perfect. Okay.
No. Guess correctly on the winner.
On the
no,
winner.
just the winner. Chainsaw Man, yeah? And you too? Perfect. Okay. Can we have write your name on the paper for me real quick?
You guys are entered for a drawing.
You got a $25 Barnes & Noble's gift card. Okay, and then fold it in half.
I'll be honest, my vote for is Loki would take it all the way.
Yeah, I didn't think Chainsaw Man was gonna win.
I didn't think Death was going to get knocked out in her first round, but here
That's
we
funny.
go.
I
Okay.
thought Beerus would get a little further, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I knew
random
Crom was
audience
going down.
member,
It's just a
will
matter of
you
time.
Close your eyes and draw our winner, please. Okay, and you want to read off and announce who wins our prize? Emmy!
Yay!
Congratulations, Emmy!
Congratulations, Emmy.
Thank you all so much for joining us. If you liked this, thought it was fun, want to hear more of us in your ears, which, wow, okay, thank you so much. Leah, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me basically anywhere that you get your own podcast, but I'm also in the social media space under Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook, all under Gaming Theater Presents. And the podcast will be called Gaming Theater Podcast. To make it easier, they still have the same initials.
Wonderful.
And we have been Muses of Mythology. We are a podcast that discusses how the ancient myths remain part of our modern pop culture storytelling traditions through the lens of Rick Riordan's Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard currently, but we cover all of the Camp Half-Blood series. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on Instagram, where I post some super cute goddess memes at Muses of Myth, and on Twitter, where DJ posts his breakfast adventures.
Yep.
And there's several different episodes that we collaborated on,
Yes,
both
we
myths,
do.
mythologies, and storytelling alike. That's what we're both in here for.
Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you so much for participating. We've got free stickers and keychains for anybody who wants them. I've been Darien. That's been Leo. That's been DJ. Don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like
Be
Zeus.
like Zeus. Yay!
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor. The Crystal Conman. Nicholas Miller. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain. And our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at Bombshell Nutshell Art.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology. Or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.